Now I'm gonna lower it softly, work with the elements of the song. And there you go. Johnny Fontana, Half Amazing TV. Welcome back to another tutorial. Matter of fact, this one's gonna be a half amazing tutorial. We're gonna get a little technical on this one. Basically, it's how to edit tracks for a mix, right? Now, before I get started, I gotta explain, it's always explaining with me because you have to understand the reasoning and all the dynamics that surround what I'm about to do, okay? First of all, I come from hip hop originally, right? So in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, I was like on Tuesdays, every Tuesdays after school, I would buy mixtapes, right? And a lot of the mixtapes that I bought were obviously they were all hip hop, but a lot of them had different like elements like samples and stuff like that. So you'd have like an acapella drop with a different beat, and then like all type of stuff being mixed in there, right? One of my favorite artists or mixtape DJs was Dirty Harry, Dog Time, DJ Camilo, mostly from New York, right? And so what I didn't realize is that, because I was trying to replicate that stuff on my own, but what I didn't realize is that when they were dropping all these acapellas and the mashups and all that, it was done with samples, right? So they were originally using like MPC, the MPC 1000 to, record the samples and then put all the stuff in, and that's when I started to realize how to actually make mixtapes, right? And when I got into house music, I used that same method, right, and incorporate it into my mixes. So that's why when I make a mix, electronic mix, there's a picture that's painted already. I already know, okay, mixtapes, mixes are for listening, right? Versus where you have something that's live, or you do that's recorded, off the cuff, or if you're, somewhere you record yourself, playing somewhere at a nightclub, which is different because you have to go with the crowd and the ambiance and everything else. But there's a difference between the mentality of the hip hop DJs versus the electronic DJs, right? And like, because I come from both, I understand. But most people, they only come from one. So for them, they don't understand each other. So it's like a dick measuring contest all the time. So now the hip hop guys, they don't understand how the electronic DJs play, right? It's like, oh man, all you do is just stand around, you don't do anything. Well, because it's 7 minutes, right, per track, 5, 6, 7 minutes of a track. You got vocals, you got breakdown, sing-alongs. So the music is different. It's played, and also you play different, during different hours of the night, where it's opening, peak, after hours, under the sun, when the sun is rising, and in the patio. So it's different than playing with hip hop. So and plus the intros are longer, and so it's played differently. And then you have the electronic DJs, will crap on the hip hop DJs and talk about, oh yeah, when you mix, you mix quickly, and you don't know how to mix, you just drop your stuff, whatever, and they don't understand the different dynamics. And I've also had where I'm explaining how to create a mix, right? And I'm saying, hey, like when you make a mix, especially electronic, you have to prepare everything, right? Make sure everything is the music is programmed properly. You know exactly what's going to go from this to that. So it's a pre-made set, right? Not live when you're playing in front of an audience, but when you have all the time in the world to create a listening mix, right? It's prepared. So you know everything, where everything goes. Also, even when you are at an event, when you're DJing, right? you also pre-edit certain songs because you know, okay, this is a hot track, but because it doesn't fit this way with all tracks, I'm going to edit it, or I'm going to make it shorter, or I'm going to extend the intro or outro so that it can mix properly with something else, or I'm going to, you know, do a breakdown for it so then I can mix something else. So that's all your pre-editing, right? So because you already know how you're going to mix that with something else, right? So it's the same concept when it comes to mixing, right? And creating a mix. When I used to listen to mixes, when I used to buy mixes, right, from DJs, like in the early 2000s, all of that, I didn't realize but until later that a lot of that stuff, most of it, because it's packaged, right, because you have to get license, distribution and all that stuff. So you have to pay, you know, the different labels. So you acquire all this music, and then once you put everything together, you have to properly program everything so that everything flows nicely. And then from there, you send it to an engineer, and then they master the actual mix, and then you sell it. You can't sell something for $19, $20, $25, $30, you know, especially if it's like a 2-mix CD, and you just say, oh, I'm just going to just, you know, wing it. Like, and then it's funny because I've had a lot of DJs, electronic DJs, who don't understand the mixtape concept. And you say, yeah, you got to prepare everything. Oh, that's cheating. Well, what do you think people, when they sell mixes, you know, CDs for $30 back in the day, you know, in 2000s, what do you think? You think that they just, you know, decided we're just going to just go off the cuff? No, you have to prepare everything. So that being said, I'm actually making a mix, all right? I'm coming back, all right? Sometimes, you know, you get that inspiration, and I have a few mixes that I'm going to be bringing out again because I'm just in that mood, right? I've been doing a lot of talking, vlog type of tutorials, videos. So now I'm going to do more of these types and also bring out some mixes, right? But I've been creating my mix. I've been programming everything so everything is nice. I have the picture in my mind, exactly what I want. I have the theme, you know, exactly what I want it to be. I'm getting the pictures and everything, because now you remember, it's not just the music. You have to, you know, pair it with other stuff, with video, to make it more interesting, right? And to paint a picture in people's minds, right? So that you understand, okay, it starts from here and it ends here. But this is one particular song that I'm mixing that it sort of clashes with the other track, and not that it's a bad, but I'm actually doing it manually, right? Because I'm looping and stuff like that. And I just decided, you know what? If you don't want to loop it yourself, right? You can actually edit it, which I'll show you in the software that I use, Acid Pro 7. Okay, matter of fact, Acid Pro 8 is coming out this spring 2018, right? So I'm not a producer, so I don't use Ableton, I don't use FL Studio, I don't use producer-based software. I use loop-based software because I'm a DJ, so I take whole stuff and I cut them up into samples, and then I create my own edits and so forth and so on, right? And I've been using that forever, and that's what I use, okay? So even though it's an old, but it works for me and it does the job, right? So I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a screen video on how I edit, you know, the same track that I'm going to play now. I'm going to edit it for you, and then I'll come back and then I'll show you how it sounds edited, right? But now let's go ahead and just do the actual sample of the mix. I'm going to do it live. I'm going to do it with the looping, and then you're going to see how it sounds, and then from there I'm going to cut it, edit it to how I want it, so it's, you know, it's a little bit more accurate, right? And I'm going to add maybe some effects to it on the computer, so that's pre-made, and then when I come back I'm going to do it again. Okay, so again, you can use it if you have an intro or like a song that you feel that, you know, needs to be extended, or you want to shorten it a little bit because it's too long, you know. So it's all how you want to do it. Okay, so I'm going to do this now, mix it, and then from there I'm going to go ahead and what do you call it again? Enter it into the computer. All right, let's go. Alright, so I'm getting everything ready. So now I'm gonna bring in the new song, which is on the right. The one on the left is playing. Remember, as you bring in the song, use the elements. So I'm gonna loop this, the breakdown of that. The reason why I start bringing it in, so it aligns properly. See, the right one is on already. Now I'm gonna loop it. Loop. Now it's at 8 loop, 8 bar. Where this one comes in. Now this one on the right, elements are gonna come in. I'm gonna cut it down to 4 bars. You hear it's coming in? See, so that wasn't that clean.
Spiritual check from the soul. Echoes the rumor.
Now I'm gonna lower it softly, work with the elements of the song. And there you go. Now, it wasn't that precise. I mean, you know, if you're on the fly, it sounds good because people are not really listening. They're not like paying so close attention unless you're a DJ and that's all you do. You just sit there and like, oh, he didn't do that right. That song clashed with that. I hate those DJs, bro. It's like, you're a producer, you're not a DJ. Of course you're gonna look at that sound. I've had guys who say, oh, yeah, it's clashing, it's this and that. Because you're a producer, you're not a DJ. You're the one that's fixated about that. And those are the worst DJs too, because that's all they know how to do is mix. They know how to mix tracks. They don't know how to mix music because they're producers. But anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and put it inside of the actual computer, and I'm gonna show you the screenshot, and we're gonna edit it, and I'm gonna come back after that. And I'm not gonna loop it. I'm not gonna do any of that, and I'm just basically going to let it work itself. Right now, is it taking away the fun and all of that? Yes, it is. But sometimes you don't want to have to do that because you're playing for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. I know, 1 hour, 2 hours. Like, oh, I don't understand about that. Yeah, sometimes you got to play for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, and you know, you just want to pre-edit your tracks because you don't want to have to constantly be looping, and because sometimes it gets draining. And for me, because I'm always thinking, I'm always concentrating, I'm always very into the music because I'm so passionate that after I'm done DJing, I'm literally shaking. You know, I feel like I've actually worked out because I'm so tense, right? And everything just becomes so, because I'm so concentrated on my thing. So sometimes, you know, if you can get something that's pre-edited and you can land it and you can be like, wow, you know, it makes it easier. Because sometimes when you have to do those loops and you have to make a prayer so that everything lands, that's even more stress on top of where you are. So that's why doing the pre-edits helps out. Not talking about a pre-mix, you know, and then you just press play. I'm talking about, you know, a pre. And also, even when you pre-program and you know exactly what you're gonna play, guess what? You're still playing it, right? Like, think about it. If you are a good DJ and you're playing to a crowd right now who doesn't dance, they only sit there and they look at you. If you pre-program your set, does it really matter now? Think about that for a moment. If only the people, they're not dancing, so therefore you don't have to read a crowd because all they do is sit there and like this. Does it really matter whether it's programmed? Yes, obviously you cannot pre-make it and then press play. But if you know exactly what you're gonna play from one track to 30 and you have your playlist in your computer, does anyone really know nowadays? Because all you do is you're playing to a group of people who are sitting down at a lounge or they're sitting there watching you. Does it really matter? Like, stop the bull crap. Because you see what I'm saying to you? Because like people are like, oh, you got a DJ, you got to read the crowd. The crowd is reading you. What the fuck you talking about, bitch? The crowd is reading you. Like, yo, like, it's me you're talking to. You can get away with that with other people. I know I'm stopped. Okay, let me stop. We're not gonna get there. Johnny Fontana, let's roll. All right, here we go. So right now I'm using Acid Pro 7. It's a pretty old software, but right now I'm going to beat map the track, right? So that I can get all the notes aligned and the tempo aligned. So now I can visually see that I'm not aligned, so I get the mark as close as possible. See, now you hear it's off, right? It's just like as if you're mixing. See? It's as if it was off. So now I got to figure out how do I get them tighter. So I get in there, I get the downbeat, put the arrow nice and tight. You see? Right there. And now you see that's a little off for now. So now you can see, there we go. Now I put everything in there. And do I play it? See? Nice and tight. So that's what's going to be able to help me create my loops. What you have to understand about this software, it's not like the other softwares like where you have Ableton, FL Studio, Reason, and stuff like that. Those are for more production, right? Creating your own notes. This is for more remixing, creating your own. It's working with samples and loops. So right here, you know where we did the loop before? I'm gonna have to now chop that and loop that area. So I took out the stuff that I didn't need and I'm gonna duplicate it and I'm just gonna keep on looping it. Now, people will be like, oh man, you're using, old software. You can use, newer software. I'll talk to you about that, hold on. All right, so now you gotta have to loop everything, make sure everything is in sync, right? So you gotta visually see it. And if you do a good job with the beat matching with the beat mapper, then you don't have to worry about it because everything on the counters on the notes are aligned. But sometimes it's not. So if you're just working with beats that you didn't beat map or they're not aligned, then you're gonna have to do it manually like I did right now. So this is just a version of how I didn't do it so accurate, so I can show you. You see how the notes are not aligned to the bars? It's because I have to do it manually. So it's just a matter of just copying and copying and copying. Now, again, people look at this and be like, oh man, this is a lot of work, right? I'm gonna explain to you the whole hypocrisy of this whole industry. And you're gonna be like, man, I really didn't think about it. I'm doing all this work, right? And people are like, man, you're using old software. Okay, fine. But then when they see me use Traktor, oh dude, I don't have any more respect for you because you're using Traktor, you're not using vinyl, you're not a real DJ. Okay, fine. I get it. But then you're the fucking one telling me that I'm using old software. Oh, playing with vinyl is fun. Playing with computers is not fun. So right here, doing manual work, this is fun. It's long and it's fun. But then you're saying that it's old software. But then when I use Traktor, you're saying that I shouldn't be using that, I should be using vinyl. I'm telling you, it's the same people. So Now you see I'm doing all the loops, and I'm basically recreating what I did before. Now you have to understand, right? I'm a DJ. I'm not a producer. Okay, like when you have Ableton and all these other things, those are for more production, creating your own notes and so forth and so on. This is for more samples, loops, right? This is for more DJ editing, right? You can create music on this as well, but it's more for using loops and big files rather than small, files. So now what I'm doing now is that I have to duplicate everything, and I'm going to take the main track and I'm going to play it on top of everything. The reason why you want to do it is to make sure that everything is matching, especially if you didn't get a good beat map in the beginning like I was doing. If it wasn't aligned, then you need to make sure that you put the music, because you know that that song is always going to be on beat, right? So you line everything and then you play it, and then now you listen to how the loops, if they match. Always want to save your work. Now you see how this will teach you how to listen to music. That's why I'm such a good mixer, because I've been doing this since 1999, working with this software. So I understand how to listen to music, and then this right here helps you transition into production. It's the step early, but right before production, but this is for the DJ. So now that I got everything aligned, remember that part where I told you that it didn't sound too clean because of the looping? That's when you go from the 8-bar to the 4-bar, and then to the 2. What I'm gonna need something like a distractor when I change from the 4-bar, 8-bar to the 4-bar. Watch. Now it's just like production, right? This is the early stage of production. You use a lot of the same samples, effects, and so forth. So by me doing this, it's going to be so easy for me to transition to production. Oh well, it has been easier for me to transition. I'm not a producer, so I'm adding some delay here. Okay, so I work better with this kind of stuff, like the basic form of production with loops, rather than creating my own music and all that stuff. I like to work with music that's already there and remix it rather than have to create my own sound. Now it's all about trying different sounds, right? It's a slow process. You gotta keep listening until it sounds good. So now I think I'm gonna add another one, because I didn't like the way that one ended off. It's too loud. See how it cut off? So I'm gonna take this one and reverse this one and put it in. There we go. Lower it a little bit. You see, you got that break, so now I got to put them together so I can alleviate that break. Watch. Ah, you see what I'm saying? There we go. Just lower it a little bit because it's still too high. I'm gonna try some other stuff, but it's whatever. So now I'm just basically just keep doing what I'm doing and just trying it. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to create like a delay on this, because the transition, I said, is too abrupt. So I need a distractor. So if I put some delay on it, it doesn't sound so abrupt, right? So I gotta just keep testing it until I see what works.
again, this is just the early part of production. This is what it basically is. All right, get everything in there. Make sure everything is aligned. But what happened is that I need to extend the bottom track more because there we go. See, so now but I heard, see, you heard a little something on the end, so I need to make sure that there we go. Two little tricks of the trade. See how it sounds. Lower it a little bit. There we go. You see, now it's starting to sound better now with the transition now. Sometimes I can be too much of a perfectionist, but this is how you listen and you understand music. You can visually see it now. And when you hear something that's off, you can work with it. And that's why producers have a harder time DJing when they don't work with samples, like whole samples, of music like this. Because when you're just only creating music from scratch and you don't really work with samples and like whole music, it's harder for you to really have an understanding of how things work and beat matching and so forth. You see again, so that delay was a little short, so I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit. See how it works again. See, so it was too short. See how we can fix that. It's whatever. Still too short, but when it's with the music, you won't really hear it. So now I'm gonna hear how everything sounds and see if everything is matching now. Always want to do it. Check your work. And this is how you're gonna see and start to listen to the sound if it's off, right? If it's not clean. Yeah, it's off a little bit. You hear it's off? See it right there? It's off, so now I'm gonna have to fix it now. So I'm gonna have to take everything, but it's towards the end that's off, so now I'm gonna have to fix it and move everything back now. I don't want to have to move everything, all the samples. So just I take the ones that I found that I think were off. I'm gonna have to zoom in and then align them properly. See, that's how you can visually see music, you see? And then that's how oh, that's how it sounds. Ah, now I see. See? Now everything is aligned. Everything sounds tight. And you see how it's coming off a little bit? Now I'm gonna have to move it. I'm gonna have to move some of the ones in the back, like this one right there, you see? I'm gonna have to now take that. It's just testing there, that one too. Gonna move it back. And this one's all right, but we can probably move it, maybe go about one more up there. Let's see how this one looks. Yeah, that's gonna have to go back. This one looks nice and tight. I think we'll keep that one. Yeah, this one looks tight, nice and tight. Yeah, this is tight right there. All right, so let's see. Yeah, we're gonna move this one back. So starting with that one, and then we're gonna bring all of them back. There we go. Zoom it up a little bit more, bring it all the way back. Bam! How about that? Tight. Check your work. Let's see how this looks. Bam! I mean, if it's off a little bit, it's not gonna be that bad. Bam! Look at that. It's sexy. Oof, man. See how clean. Let me see. Let's open a little bit more. I want to see how clean it is. All right. Let's see. How are we looking? Yep. Nice and clean. Sexy. Things that make you get a hard on, man. See, open up. All right. We're going to have to move these up a little bit, I think. Yeah. We're going to have to move them up just a little bit. But you see, you're starting to see what I mean, right? Yeah. There we go. It's a little perfectionist in me, but you start to understand and start to understand how music, sounds. It's a long process, man, but this is how you learn. This is how you start to understand. And you see, now we're on now. Now we're gonna start again. See how it starts, and listen to the whole thing. See, it's a line now. See? That end, I'm not feeling it, but it's whatever, So what we'll do here is that we'll save everything, and then we'll go to the Adobe Audition, and we'll just sort of put like a limiter on it. Because you see how loud that thing is? They make this stuff really loud. So I'm going to bring it down to like -1, -7.75. And now let's listen to the final version. Let's do this. Always want to save your work. Let's go.